What's up, guys? Welcome to the Cashcraft, your daily dose of finance and technology news and updates. Miguel Marquez saves 70% of his income teaching in Spain, retired at 42, and swears by an investment strategy most finance gurus have never heard of. He's not living in a van. He's not eating ramen. He's living well in Madrid on roughly $2,000 a month, while his portfolio quietly compounds. This is what financial independence looks like when you stop trying to impress people back home and start optimizing for actual freedom. And the way he invests contradicts almost everything you hear from index fund evangelists. Marquez teaches at an international school in Spain. After earning his degree there, he bounced between teaching jobs across Europe and Asia before settling back in Madrid. The move wasn't about lifestyle, it was strategic. His rent in Spain runs about $800 monthly. The same apartment in a US city would cost triple that, maybe quadruple. Healthcare is essentially free. Public transit works. Groceries don't require a second mortgage. But here's where it gets interesting. Saving 70% of your income sounds impossible until you realize he's not making Silicon Valley money. He's a teacher. The math works because his expenses collapsed, not because his salary exploded. He reached what the FI community calls lean FI, the minimum portfolio size where investment returns cover your basic living costs. For him, that number was lower than it would be for most Americans because his costs are genuinely lower, permanently. Now pay attention to this next part. Most people in the FIRE movement dump everything into low-cost index funds. Total stock market, maybe some international exposure, call it a day. Marquez does something completely different. He uses the permanent portfolio, a strategy designed by economist Harry Browne in the 1980s that almost nobody talks about anymore. Here's how it works. You split your money into 4 equal parts: 25% stocks, 25% long-term treasury bonds, 25% cash, and 25% gold. That's it. You rebalance once a year when any slice drifts more than a few percentage points from 25%. The logic is that each asset class thrives in a different economic environment. Stocks do well during prosperity, bonds shine during deflation, cash protects you in recessions, gold hedges against inflation. No matter what the economy throws at you, something in your portfolio is working. Most finance people hate this strategy. It sounds too simple, too conservative, too old-fashioned. The stock allocation is too low, gold doesn't pay dividends. You're leaving returns on the table. Marquez doesn't care. He watched his portfolio stay remarkably stable through COVID, through inflation spikes, through market crashes that sent his index fund friends into panic spirals. The permanent portfolio didn't make him rich quick. It made him sleep well at night, which matters more when you're living off your investments at 42. What most people miss is that the optimal investment strategy depends entirely on what you're optimizing for. If you're 25 and accumulating wealth, sure, go 100% stocks and ride the volatility. But if you've already hit your FI number and you're living off the portfolio, the math changes. Sequence of returns risk becomes your biggest enemy. A 40% crash in year 1 of retirement can wreck your plan even if the market recovers later. The permanent portfolio sacrifices some upside to avoid catastrophic downside. For someone who's already won the game, that trade-off makes sense. Here's the thing nobody's talking about. Geographic arbitrage, moving somewhere cheaper, is the fastest lever most people have to reach financial independence, and it's the one they refuse to pull. Marquez didn't grind for decades trying to save 70% of a US salary. He moved to a place where saving 70% was actually possible without living like a monk. His quality of life improved while his costs dropped. That's not deprivation. That's optimization. The question you should be asking yourself is, what's the minimum you actually need to live well? And where could you get that for half the price? Marquez proved you don't need $1 million portfolio if you're willing to rethink geography. And you don't need to chase maximum returns if you've already built enough. Personally, I'm still skeptical of gold as 25% of a portfolio, but the core insight here is right. Once you've hit your number, protecting it matters more than growing it. If I were already FI and living abroad, I'd probably run something closer to this than the aggressive index fund approach most people default to. That's all for today, folks. If you found this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe to the Cashcraft for more finance and tech news. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.